My husband looked me straight in the eye and said, "You knew what you signed up for when you married me." Then he packed his bag and walked out the door, 3 days after I lost my job trying to take care of his sick mother. What he didn't know was that I had already found something in his phone that would change everything. My name is Sarah, and for 6 years, I gave up almost everything for my marriage. When my mother-in-law, Diane, got diagnosed with early-stage dementia, my husband, Mark, asked me to quit my job as a marketing manager to take care of her. I loved my job. I was good at it. But Mark said, "Family comes first, Sarah. We can't afford a full-time nurse, and Mom trusts you." So I said yes. For 2 years, I woke up every morning at 6 a.m. to prepare Diane's medication, cook her meals, take her to doctor's appointments, and manage her mood swings when the confusion got bad. I missed my sister's wedding because Diane had a bad episode that week. I missed my own birthday dinner because she wandered outside at 9 p.m., and I had to find her 3 blocks away in her nightgown. Mark worked long hours at his engineering firm. He said he was providing while I was supporting. That's the word he used. Supporting. Like what I did wasn't really work. 2 weeks ago, everything fell apart. Diane had a fall. It wasn't serious, just a bruised hip, but it happened while I had stepped out for 15 minutes to pick up her prescription. Mark got the call at work and rushed home. When he walked in and saw his mother sitting on the couch with an ice pack, he didn't ask if she was okay first. He looked at me and said, "Where were you?" I explained. 15 minutes. The pharmacy was 2 minutes away. She was fine, just startled. But Mark's face had already changed. That night, he barely spoke to me. The next morning, he told me his sister Rachel thought it would be safer if Diane moved in with her instead, temporarily, just until they figured things out. I said, okay, I understood. Safety first. What I didn't expect was what came after. 3 days later, I got a call from my former boss, Linda. She said a position had opened up again, a director-level role, and she wanted to know if I was interested. After 2 years out of the industry, this felt like a miracle. I said yes immediately and told Mark that night over dinner, genuinely excited for the first time in months. Mark didn't smile. He put his fork down and said, "You're going to take a job now, after everything that happened with Mom?" I asked him what that meant. He said, "It means maybe if you'd been more present, none of this would have happened. And now you want to go back to your old life like the last 2 years didn't matter?" I sat there stunned. 2 years of my life, my career, my sleep, my friendships, poured into caring for his mother, and he was rewriting the story like I had been careless the whole time. I asked him calmly, "Do you think I wasted those 2 years?" He didn't answer right away. Then he said the words I'll never forget. "You knew what you signed up for when you married me." That night, he packed an overnight bag and said he needed space. He said he was going to stay at Rachel's for a few days to think. After he left, I sat alone in our kitchen, staring at the walls I had decorated, the fridge covered in Diane's medication schedule I had built by hand. And that's when I remembered something. A week earlier, while charging my phone, I had accidentally picked up Mark's phone instead. A message notification flashed on the screen from a contact saved as our work. At the time, I dismissed it, but now, sitting alone in the quiet, something told me to check again. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I opened his laptop, which was still logged into his email. I found a folder of messages between him and a coworker named Rachel, not his sister, a different Rachel, going back 8 months. They weren't explicitly romantic, but they were intimate in a different way. He told her things he hadn't told me in years. He complained about feeling trapped at home. He said, "Sometimes I feel like I married my mother's caretaker instead of my wife." My hands were shaking, but I kept reading. 2 months ago, he wrote, "If Mom gets worse, I might actually consider moving her permanently to a facility. But Sarah would never agree. She's too attached to feeling needed." I sat there, and something inside me went very still and very clear. I hadn't just given up my career for love. I had given it up for a man who saw my devotion as a character flaw, not a sacrifice. The next morning, Mark came home to grab more clothes. I was sitting at the kitchen table, calm, with my laptop open. He looked surprised to see me so composed. He started to say something about needing more time, but I cut him off. I said, "I read your messages with Rachel from work." His face went pale. I told him I wasn't going to yell, and I wasn't going to beg him to explain himself. I told him I had already called Linda back and accepted the director position. I told him I had also called a lawyer that morning, a friend from college who specialized in family law, just to understand my options. Mark tried to backtrack, saying the messages weren't what they looked like, that he was just venting to a coworker.